HBCU Gameday, and we are here with Oluwamodupe Oloyede.
Yes.
She is the second female drum major in the history of the Marching 100, but she is the first female to hold the position of head drum major, which was just named by Dr. Shelby Chipman and the staff. What is the origin of your name?
The origin of my name, so I'm a Nigerian American Yoruba tribe young lady. So my name means Lord, I thank you, and I'm definitely living up to my name right now. Yes. And that's Oluwamodupe Oloyede. That's my name.
So you were a drum major at Southwest DeKalb.
Yes.
And at Southwest DeKalb, everyone knows is a great feeder band for the Florida A&M University Marching 100.
Yes.
Just talk about your time there as drum major.
Yes. So my time as a Southwest DeKalb drum major set me up to be a Florida A&M University drum major tremendously. Even when I didn't think about becoming a FAMU drum major, I knew that the leadership skills I gained in the SWD band would take me anywhere. I was picked my freshman year to serve my sophomore year, and the first set that we had, our group of drum majors are called sets over there. So the first set that we had was a completely new set of drum majors, and my head drum major, Hasim Smith, who I was on the squad with last year, he was just so compassionate, and that's where I learned how to encourage my peers as well as have the grit to get the job done, and of course, insane energy to do the job. While there, I also learned how to show plan, and I'm also head of show planning here. So show planning includes what the 100 is going to play, the formations on the field, the dance routine, the things that keep us popping, you know. So all the things that I learned in those leadership capacities, I'm very grateful that Mr. Seda saw that in me and put me in those positions so that I could mold those leadership skills to even be here today. So I'm very grateful.
So last year, you had a goal of making sure that you didn't stand out because you were a female. You wanted, when people peruse the band, they'd have to look for Dupe. But now, the band's not gonna move until you blow your whistle, so there's no hiding now. Just talk about the difference in being a drum major last year and the responsibility and the burden of being the head drum major this season.
Last year, my goal definitely was to be a clean, precise, physically up to par, beyond par, excellent drum major. So what we would say in the 100 is, oftentimes in the past, there's no women on the field. And what that really means, because the 100 didn't start with women, was that they didn't want to see any changes in the concept or what we perceived at that time to be weakness in the concept. Now that I'm a drum major, my goal is to show that you bring yourself to the job. And I am a woman. There's no separating that. So being the head drum major this year, the beautiful burden of it is the integrity of the game, that in order for people to do what I need them to do, I have to do it first. And I even reminded myself of that this morning, like if we're gonna have to do this job and to do it well, because there's only one way to do it, I have to be on my P's and Q's as well. I have to explain things so that people can understand them, because communication is possibly the biggest part of my job, other than the physical parts of it, as well as the standard of excellence to be upheld.
With the years of the Marching 100 and the fame that comes along with it, is a big responsibility that you're always first, that you're always the best band on the field at all times. How do you convey that to the rest of the members of the Marching 100?
Good question. How do I convey that? I think June 1, which was yesterday, well, June 1 is the founding date of the Marching 100. And I also was making a yearbook for the KK Psi and TBS chapters here. Upon doing the research for that, I started seeing why Florida A&M University is beyond important for American history and history for bands across the world. And that made me personally more proud to be in the number, period. Like, drum major aside, to be in the number is phenomenal. The dream for the Marching 100, it kind of relates to me. Somebody, one person and a wife and a family had the dream of taking 16 members to make it 100 members, and now we're marching over 300 on an average year. So to do that, it's like, wow. Once you remember why the band started, how important it was, and what it means to a bunch of bands, I even saw that there's 3 drum major styles that changed the entire world. Us, JSU, and Southern. But we're number 1 because we set the precedent for all bands across America. At the end of our band motto, it's called the Florida A&M University Band, a role model of excellence. And that's shown with everything that we do. We set the precedent for everything. One university, one HBCU band has won the Sudler Trophy, which is the Heisman of bands. So I'm like, actually, it's not hard to tell my band members, like, you have to remember what you're holding in your hands. We're standing on the shoulders of giants, and that's so many monikers that we live by. And I was hearing in elementary and hearing in middle school, hearing in high school, but now that we're here, it's like, Band of the Year? How could you even forget? Come on, you have to step up to the plate.
So when people describe me or her or anyone that they see as the female drum major, offended is not the word, but you will never hear me call myself that. When I was selected as a drum major, there was nothing that I had done as a drum major that was brand new. There had been drum majors prior to me who had tried out for a first time, didn't make it, came back a second time, and were on the squad. There were drum majors who had been on CNN, magazine covers, had done interviews, had been on the front page of a paper. There was nothing new that I did as a drum major. And so when people say, oh, you were the first female drum major, you were the first female drum major, I break the stereotype and I break the mold on purpose by saying, oh, y'all, I didn't do nothing new. It was just time for a change. And being able to put it into perspective like that, especially when we're on the field, we were giggling about this before, but especially when we're on the field and they can't tell which one of us it is, that's the point. Yeah. All of our personalities are different, even between me and her, but every drum major has a different personality, a different swag. That's what makes us who we are. When we step foot on that field, when it is time to do business and do work, we are one. Doesn't matter whether it's a female or a male, it's the squad.
We talked to Corey, and I think Corey's excitement is just a little bit, maybe a little less than yours. I don't know. She's very happy for you. And how important is it to have that support for a person who was the first who stood in the gap for all the females, took a lot of the scrutiny so that it actually was not an anomaly when you came into the Marching 100?
The support is immense. I said earlier to a few of my friends that they're like, are you scared? Not scared. I'm not scared at all. I think that what she did made it a lot easier, like you said, for women to come and fulfill the role. So now my job is to pass the torch to the next girl, to show her that, yes, you can be a FAMU head drum major. Yes, you can be a drum major, period. You can be a leader in your own right, and you can do it in the best band in the land. And the support means a lot because what we're trying to do is to advance womanhood, especially womanhood in music. That's what our sorority is about. Tau Beta Sigma National Honorary Band Sorority is about empowering women in music and in bands across the world. So I'm very grateful for the opportunity to just continue passing that torch forward.
Dupe, you're going to have one hectic first week of performances.
Yeah.
You know, it's just been announced that the Marching 100 has been invited to the U.S. Open, which means Battle of the Bands, midweek trip to Flushing, New York, the U.S. Open, where Althea Gibson is going to be honored. And fortunately for you all, when you get there, there's already a statue of Althea Gibson there. So you all will be performing on the courts from a great FAMUing, one of the greatest women FAMUing, not just athlete, women, period, in Althea Gibson. How much of it is an honor is it for you all to go there to make history by performing at the U.S. Open on behalf of another FAMUan who preceded us all? I'm
glad. I'm beyond glad. The honor is immense. I was talking to one of the former head drum majors here named Victor Gaines, and hearing about his experience at FAMU, I'm like, wait a second. He was there at a pivotal time, and it helped me realize that I'm also here at a pivotal time in FAMU history. So to honor Althea Gibson at the U.S. Open, that's amazing. That's amazing. Defending the Band of the Year for 2024 comes really fast. You got a Battle of the Bands in Houston, and then, of course, U.S. Open, and then you have to travel to
another historic place for FAMU. The Orange Blossom Classic is more than a football game. The Orange Blossom Classic was one of the biggest cultural events in Miami over the years. There are photos when you see people standing on buildings, awnings, and everything. When that Marching 100 was walking down the street for that OBC parade, it is one of the most memorable things in Miami history, period, with all they've had. So now you get to lead the band down there in that historic venue, in that historic undertaking. Have you thought much about going to Miami for the Orange Blossom Classic?
I thought about it because I remember us going to Orange Blossom Classic, and it's hot. It is so hot. It is actually intentionally hot. But I know that upon the training that we're doing, we have goals. Every bowl games, you know, classic, that's a huge goal. Band of the year, that's a great big goal. But we have to get to that first hurdle of the Orange Blossom Classic. And I'm thinking about, okay, my first Orange Blossom Classic, I didn't actually know what the band was doing, but I trusted my leaders knew what they were doing. I trusted that my drum majors, when they would tell us where to go, they knew. So it just reminds me that in order for us to get acclimated to be at classic level, introducing at the top of the season means that we have to be on our A game as a leadership core, as a squad, so that the band can know what to do. Especially with that being a very hectic week, there can be no breaches in communication. There can be no breaches in the standard of excellence so that we can get to where we need to go. And they're like, wait, classic? Which classic are you talking about? They won't even know the difference. Standard is upheld through the entire season.
Oh, that is great. So you brought up another point. You know, it's a long way from this date, but the Florida Classic ends the season, and that's one of the biggest band battles. No disrespect to any of the battles of the bands, but one of the biggest band battles is always in Orlando when FAMU faces off against Bethune-Cookman University. Have you thought much about the Florida Classic?
Yes. I thought about it because, like Corey said, the Classic is the pinnacle of your career. At one point in the 100, that was the last game of the season. We've been blessed to go on to championships, playoffs, and celebration bowls and band of the year. So, of course, the work doesn't stop, but it's for you to know, even looking back on the last season, that was my favorite show. My favorite show because not only is it the last one, but you really stamp your name in history when you realize you just beat, it's not really about the competition, but you put so much energy into that classic show. You fill it up with show planning details. You fill it up with double entendres on how you can, play that pun and still be appropriate. You fill it up with inspiring the youths as well. And that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to seeing the 100 perform with me in it. And the first time I saw the 100 was at the Florida Classic, and it'll be my last time at the Florida Classic in this position.
Okay, I got another insider question. First home game, Albany State. What's your preparation so that you don't drop on that slow one?
I've been preparing since I got here. I've never dropped. So that's the preparation is FAMU drum majors, we work hard. The 100, we work hard. When I was in high school, my band director said, you're auditioning and trying out for leadership the very first day that you step into the band room. It's not about when you go into the meetings. It's not when you sign an application stating that you do, because you have to, but you make your first impression the very first day you walk in. So that standard has been set. It's not gonna happen that nobody's gonna drop because we've been preparing. And brag, that's home. So you gotta put it on for the home team.